Hey, it's Mike. I'm back. I'm going to do some more Krishna stuff, talk about some Krishna stuff. Hey, we got Dahlia Roberts here. Hey, it's good to see you. Let me see. I got all kinds of problems going on. So, I got construction going on all around me, but I'm not going to wait for them to finish. So, if you hear some banging and some noise, I do apologize for that. We got Eliana. Hey, Jai Shri Vandeham Srila Mukunda Das Maharaj Ki Jai. Yes, that's Jai. Let's see, can't wait. Gyana Sham, 5471. How you doing? Glad to see you're here. Fake human. Of course, it's fake human always here. And we got N with the good rice. Yeah, I can't wait either. And we got Monkey Boy. Hey, Monkey Boy, glad to see you came back. Glad to see you're here. Let's get right to it. We're gonna do some videos. I'm gonna talk some shit, and let's get going right now.
Hello?
Hello.
All right. So, hey, thanks for sticking out that opening. All right. So, I'm also having some software problems with this streaming program. So I hope everything goes great today. And we got Fake Human with the Kiwi running after that. It's Robin George right there running after the Kiwi. And my name is Mike, for all you new people out there, and I'm really excited because I'm getting a lot of new people watching and sharing and everything. So all the new people out there, welcome. I do like to start off for all the new people and for the people who have been watching for a while. I like to start off with Knitting Coat Lady, and today's no different. I'm going to start off with the knitting one herself. Let me see. We can do here, make sure everything's right, because sometimes she has sound problems like me. So let's see what we can do here.
So this is one of these things that really upsets people when we say it, that all cults are the same, but it doesn't make it any less true. And your heartburn with it just means that you aren't there yet in your understanding of a cult as a entire field. So one of the things that I took away from my book, The Culting of America, which has a 36-page bibliography, I have done a very thorough literature review of all of the experts out there writing on cults, and almost all of them will tell you that all cults are the same. Same story, different details, and even the details usually aren't that different. This is actually a crucial part of deconstructing your cult experience, understanding that yours wasn't different. Because part of what every cult does is make you feel unique and special, and in fact it isn't. I believe this so much and have found this to be true in 38 years of studying cults that I always tell people, go read 5 cult memoirs in a row. And this is what my cult book club is based on, which you can access through becoming a Patreon subscriber linked in the bio. And everybody starts off thinking their experience was very different and very unique, and you have to be super specific about the details. And then after you read about 5 or 12, like we do in a year-long book club, you really, really, truly begin to see that they're all the same. They're all the same. The way humans control each other is one formula, and we see it the same way every time. The details might vary, but it's always the same. And that's how we can so firmly say things like cults are always about labor. And that's how we can so firmly identify these groups and these experiences at cults. It's also important to know this because, well, experts have said all cults are the same, which means there's a generic cult baby experience. And I believe I am helping to put the language to that. These same experts also say that it might be impossible to heal from our cult experiences without really understanding what has happened to us. So I'm very sorry if it is triggering to you to hear experts say that all cults are the same, but this is an important part of deconstructing your own cult experience, is understanding that. Just like an important part of putting together a healthy identity is understanding that, like, you are special and unique, just like everyone else on earth. And having that language and having that community with which to deconstruct it is extremely important. This is also why I say you can put me into any questionable cult in the world and I could point you to the sexual and financial abuse within 24 to 48 hours, like that, because they're all the same. This also is because they all study each other. It's upsetting to people, and I understand that, but I believe you'll get there in your deconstruction and understanding of how it works.
Yes, and let me just say, she's right. You have to realize what happened to you, in order to heal. Otherwise, you're going to carry this through. And that's why I say some of these people, and I'm not blaming them. Like the gentleman that I watched his video, and he's an astrologer or something. He's got a channel and he does astrology. He's got like a following, and he quit the Hare Krishnas, and he's got all these issues. But I don't think he understands that it's not an ancient tradition. It's not all of this stuff that he's been told. He still believes it. He just believes that it's not really for him. He doesn't understand that it's a high control group. It was a cult that he was in, with the shaved heads and the robes and the chingy and the whole thing. He hasn't come to that understanding yet. He just thinks that that's a spiritual thing, but it's not for him anymore. He doesn't understand that he was conned, he was fooled, he was tricked. And whether it was fun or not, or whatever happened, something happened to that guy. He's not saying, but he had to make a list. It took him 1.5 years to figure out what he's doing. He changed his name. He changed his name back. And he hasn't figured it out yet. He doesn't understand. He doesn't fully understand the manipulation, the coercion, all of the stuff that she's talking about, the free labor, the financial abuse, all of these things, the mental abuse, the sexual abuse. Not that he was sexually abused or he abused anyone, but the beliefs that women have small brains, like to be raped, the homophobia, the racism, the sexism. He was involved in that. And that's probably why he seems like a pretty normal guy. That's probably what it was. He didn't like being, I'm just speculating. He probably didn't like being this hateful person. He seemed like a very, unhateful type of guy. And then, he had to live with this stuff about women and small brains and liking to be raped and just treating them like second class. Women over there, men over here, women in the back, men in the front. The book saying how women are this and that. It seems like he's like he's emotionally trauma over just these teachings alone. But he doesn't understand he's in a cult with a cult leader. And the whole trimmings, everything that comes along with being in a cult. He hasn't grasped that yet. Maybe he has, he's not admitting it to himself. There's a lot that he's not saying. He's coming out, he's saying a lot, but there's a lot that he's holding back. Like whereas me and a lot of the people in my chat, I joined, but I was fooled. I was tricked. Cult leaders trick you. They manipulate you. So yeah, I did it. I joined. I self-indoctrinated. I self-regulated. I fell for the bullshit. I admit it. And I didn't realize it was a cult until a few years before. I realized it was a cult when I started like knitting Cult Lady, when I met a Jehovah's Witness, and she was telling me about her experiences in the Jehovah's Witness. And I was like, damn, that's exactly what we do. It's exactly what we do. The books, this preaching, the meeting strangers on the street, telling everybody about this stuff, the weird stories, the space travel. It's all tied up. It's all the same. It's all the same. That was the first clue. It took me a while to realize, but I realized I was in a cult. And then with the pedophilia and the Ritvik thing and the pedophilia and the child molesters and covering it up, I quickly investigated and couldn't believe what I had. It was like uncovering a conspiracy theory or some kind of Illuminati type thing. But it wasn't like a conspiracy theory. It was just realizing it was a cult. Once you realize that all cults operate the same, it doesn't matter what cult it is, Jonestown or Hare Krishna. That's why some people are going to say, well, Hare Krishna is not like Jonestown. It's not like Scientology. Yes, it is. They're all the same. If the head of Scientology said, hey, you know what, we're in a Jonestown situation and we all need to drink this Kool-Aid, or if the Hare Krishna said, hey, we need you all to go out and do something, illegal, and they do it. Like Manson, like Waco, like Jonestown, like Hale Bop. Tell me, Hale Bop was any different than Jonestown, any different than Waco, any different than Hare Krishna, any different than Moonies? Out of your mind. Think that the guy said we were all brainwashed. I would have went and shot the guy too. We all would have done it. At least he recognized it. Hey Tim, great to see you here, man. I'm glad to see everybody here. This is so great. Monkey Boy and Fake Human. Everybody is awesome. So I got one more knitting Cult Lady here. And this is an important one too. Here we go.
Okay, how can we get people out of MAGA or out of any cults? And unfortunately, the answer is nobody knows that. My grandfather, much beloved in my family, still runs the money for the children of God. And I say that by saying, if there was a way to break people out of cults, I would know it, and I would have done it for my family. The reason it's impossible to wake someone up out of a cult by force is because we buy into our own indoctrination. And I just made a whole video about brainwashing and all that in this same outfit if you want to go check it out. Now, I used to just stop there, right? We don't know how to get people out of cults. That being said, what we don't know how to do is engineer a crack in the brainwashing. But that doesn't mean you can't try. So there's a book I love to recommend. It's called Rising Out of Hatred. And it's about the heir to white nationalism, kind of a lot of what's the people who have taken the country now. There was this kid, Derek Black, who was raised as a white supremacist and was a big part of the movement. And the book is about the 4 years that it takes from his friends in college, a diverse group of friends, just hanging out with him and talking to him, even though his ideologies are terrible and literally hurt them, and getting him away from it. And I like to recommend that book because I like people to see it's a 4-year process. Now, once somebody has had the crack in the brainwashing, they're starting to question. For a lot of MAGA, that was over the Epstein list because that was the mission of the cult and they just destroyed it, right? So there have been a crack in the brainwashing. And if you suspect your loved one has had a crack in the brainwashing, then talking to them a lot is really helpful. Asking them a lot of questions. And you're basically trying to shove your hands in that crack and pull it open for them, right? And this is true regardless of whether they've had the crack in the brainwashing or not. Brainwashing depends on isolation, right? It's really, really important to understand that 50 years ago, they started to get all the Republicans watching Fox News and getting most of their opinions and information from Fox News, right? Which also in 1983 lost, you didn't have to have truth in journalism anymore. So Fox News was created to be entertainment in response to that, actually. So that is very important. They're isolated in their own thoughts. And there's actually this exercise that I tell people to do, because people will say, how do we know we're not in the cult, right? Because MAGA loves to say, you're in a cult. So, all right, so here's an exercise you can do. Imagine that you have your MAGA father-in-law in your total control for 2 weeks. Like his leg is broken. For some reason, he's lost a bet. He has to do exactly what you say. How many people, human beings in person with different perspectives of life could you expose him to? And then flip that around. If yours is more than 2 or 3, you're probably not in the cult. And if theirs is more than 2 or 3, they're probably not in a cult. However, I know based on my MAGA father-in-law, he could expose me to exactly 1 perspective. Well, I could expose him to probably 20 or more, right? So that can be true, even though this can be useful, even though we know that they're the ones in the cult, because we know that brainwashing dies when you give it company, when you take them out of isolation and talk to them, take them around to other people that will talk to them. It's really hard to hate up close. And what MAGA relies on right now is that they're thriving in places where it's majority white people, right? They don't have to come into contact with things that break their stereotypes. So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying really hard to get your people watching other things, reading other books. This will sound really self-serving, but the way we wrote Uncultured was so that you could sneak it in as, oh my gosh, this amazing story about this girl that grew up in a crazy sex cult and then went on to become a captain in the U.S. Army. And the book will do the work. And what we know is one of the easiest ways to get people to recognize coercive control in their own lives is to recognize it in parallel contexts. So for
Okay, so that's important right there. When I met this girl that was a Jehovah's Witness, and she was just like giving up Jehovah's Witness. She wasn't going to the meetings. She wasn't reading. She wasn't doing any of that stuff. She had just stopped, and we became friends. We were coworkers. We became friends. We started dating, and when she started telling me about what they did and how they think and how they operate and the whole organization and the preaching and how it was, they have a GBC, okay? They have a governing board commission. They have a GBC. They have these elders, and they have the men it's a whole it's a whole thing. If you watch Nadine Cult Lady, Jehovah's Witness fits the cult, everything that she says about cults. Hare Krishna does too. But I didn't know about Knitting Cult Lady, but I knew Jehovah's Witness was a cult. And I was a Hare Krishna. So when I saw all the parallels to Hare Krishna, I realized at that point, well, we're doing the same things that they're doing, but we're an ancient tradition. We're 5,000 years old, based on Bhagavad Gita, based on Vedic scriptures, Lord Chaitanya, and all of these things. Hey, we got, who just joined it? We got Trey Martin. Hey, how you doing, man? Great to see great to see you here. Liam. Hey, great to see you here. Hey, and yeah, we got 54-7. Hey, great to see you again. Again in there. Yeah, and I realized at that time that Hare Krishna, that I was in a cult. I was in a Hare Krishna's. It was a cult, and even though they talk about culture, not cult, and this and that, and all these things, that really stuck in my mind. That the parallels between Hare Krishna and Jehovah's Witness. So that was probably the beginning of a major crack. There were other little cracks, but nothing major. But that was really made me look at what was going on, what I was doing, and how it was so much. It was not so much. It was exactly like the Jehovah's Witness, and so that's again, that's just more evidence that all cults are the same. It doesn't matter if it's a Hindu cult or if it's a multi-level marketing scam cult. They all operate the same. So there's no secret message. There's no secret word. There's no anything that you can do or say to someone to make them go, "Oh, yeah, I'm in a cult. I got to get out of here." Because they've convinced themselves. So they gotta do it themselves. But you can help. You can ask questions, and you can show them like she said, different perspectives is really the key. So now I want to show. Oh my God, I just can't believe this. So this, of course, my producer Raphael has sent me all kinds of stuff. Now I got it. He sent me a bunch of stuff that was older stuff about this devotee. And I was like, this is old news. This is old news. I know about this. This is old news. And then I finally clicked on it was one after another. And then finally I clicked on this one, and I was like, oh, this is why he's sending me this stuff. Because this is from this year, December 9th, 2025. Bhakta honored at 2025 Victoria Multicultural Awards for Excellence. This guy, look at this guy. Bhakta with Tom McIntosh, a member of the Victorian Parliament, representing Minister of Multiculturalism, and Her Excellency Professor Margaret Gardner, Governor of Victoria, Australia. So he's able to fool these people into thinking that he's actually some kind of holy man, and he represents some kind of ancient tradition, religion, something. And it says here, Bhakta, a senior representative of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness in Victoria, Australia, has been honored at the 2025 Victorian Multicultural Awards for Excellence for his long-standing service to interfaith engagement and multicultural collaboration. Bhakta was nominated by a member of Victoria's multicultural community for his more than 15 years of dedicated service representing ISKCON in various interfaith initiatives and administrative roles. The award acknowledges both his personal contributions and the enduring role of the Hare Krishna movement in strengthening multicultural life in the state of Victoria. So this guy's able to fool this cult. This guy's able to fool these people into thinking that he's some kind of holy guy, and that he deserves some kind of an award. This guy. Hey, Jenna Morton, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. So you go, well, who is this guy? I'll tell you who this guy is. I don't need to tell you who. I mean, I'm going to tell you who this guy is, but you can go find out who he is on the internet. I'm going to find out who he is on the internet. Let's see. Let's see what it says right here. Let's see what it says right here. Fugitive American becomes ISKCON guru. Oh, isn't that something? On the Run American Becomes Guru by Amit Mukherjee, Times News Network, Saturday, June 19th, 2004. So it says, Indraprastha, little did the devotees of Lord Jagannath Mahaprabhu realize their Firangi Baba, Bhaktadas, who they had given the place of an esteemed disciple, was a criminal fugitive on a U.S. lookout list for drug trafficking and money laundering. Bhaktadas, alias William G. Benedict of North Willis, Visalia, a star devotee of the ISKCON cult in Bengal and Orissa, is an alleged fugitive sought by U.S. State Department since 2001 for drug trafficking. So he's an alleged fugitive, or was, I'm not sure. But the fugitive turned ISKCON devotee, excuse me, he's not a fugitive turned ISKCON devotee. He's always been an ISKCON devotee. He's been an ISKCON devotee since like 1969 or something. Had been evading extradition to the U.S. by committing petty crimes here and keeping the Indian judicial busy with cases. These tactics paid off for a while, but now he has been pinned down in jail with authorities denying him bail, leaving no scope for him to commit more offenses. Finally, the long arm of the law has begun to catch up with Benedict. When this U.S. citizen running a drug network involving trafficking and sales of psychotropic substances stood exposed, he fled the U.S. A Benedict, who might have been even sentenced to death for his offenses in the U.S., sneaked into India probably towards the end of 1999, just before the authorities in the U.S. decided to arrest him in January 2000 before a Maryland court. He logged himself in Orissa and Bengal as an ISKCON devotee who wanted to preach the Krishna cult and take devotees to the U.S. He also changed his name to Bhaktadas. Okay, so that's that's this Dr. Jai Maharaj, the Narchive mailing list archive. I'm not sure what this is, some Bengali newspaper or webpage. Excuse me. So that's Bhaktadas. But let's see what a Hare Krishna has to say about him. This is our buddy Pod. What does Pod have to say? This was in 2013. So this is approximately around the time that he supposedly 15 years. They're saying, hey, thanks for 15 years. You've been doing great service for 15 years. So 15 would be since 2010. It's 2025. But here it says from Pod's webpage how Bhaktadas, William Benedict, ruined Krishna's name worldwide. If we want to know how ISKCON became a criminal organization, all we have to do is look at one example out of many such criminals who filtered into ISKCON, such as Bhaktadas, William Benedict. He says he has recently emerged as one of Pod's biggest critics. Yeah, I mean, nobody likes Pod. I mean, when a guy like Bhaktadas doesn't like Pod, you got to really you got to really ask yourself. Even people like Pod. Everybody from Mike to Bhaktadas, from Mike to Bhaktadas, and everybody in between can't stand this Pod guy. So, but I gotta give him credit for documenting all the bullshit. Even though he mixes in lies and bullshit in with the real bullshit, he does document the real deal. So it says here, Bhaktadas has more recently been in Bangkok, Thailand, with his pal Guru Kripa, Guru Kripa told me when he visited me in Santa Cruz in the early 80s that anyone who went to the Gaudiya Math was betraying Srila Prabhupada, was supporting bogus gurus, since Prabhupada said they are not fit to be gurus, and they were surrendering to the enemies of Prabhupada. Guru Kripa also told me there is a bunch of fags running ISKCON and acting as gurus. So you can just see the mentality of these Hare Krishnas, guys like Bhakta Das, Guru Kripa, even Pod, even Paranjan. Because Paranjan, whenever he mentions these guys, he says homosexuals and pedophiles, as if homosexuals and pedophiles go together in some kind of homosexuals and pedophiles go together like two peas in a pod. Like they're the same they're the same thing. So anyway, he goes on about this Bhaktidas, but Bhaktidas was okay. So he says when I met Bhaktidas in the USA on a visit from Bangkok some years ago, he said he was fucking his brains out with the prostitutes there. So Bhaktidas had one of his businesses raided by authorities. Pod says that Bhaktidas was, according to the report above, selling cocaine substitutes. They're known as designer drugs. And he goes on to document some other stuff that he did. He was on the run for these drugs. And you know, he says Bhaktidas did not learn his lesson from having his place busted in the U.S. Later on, Bhaktidas was arrested in Puri, India. And again, this was in 2005. So then here's a from a news. FBI's most wanted is now in India. So it's got his name wrong. He says, George Benedict. I guess it's William George Benedict, alleged kingpin of an organized drug racket in the U.S. It's called the Poppy Priest, a fugitive allegedly known to investigators is wanted for drug-related charges in the state of Maryland. I mean, it goes on and on and on. You know, I don't know. I guess he was able to avoid extradition, and I don't know what happened. I'm not sure. I'm not up on that, but if you want to read up on, but it really doesn't matter. This is the guy that they are honoring. This is the guy that they're honoring at the Victorian Multicultural Awards for Excellence, and so. The whole point of the award is that he's been giving 15 for his more than 15 years of dedicated service. Well, within that 15 years of service, he was obviously evidently he was doing some shady stuff. But anyway, they're able to convince these people that they can that they deserve. Look at him. Does he look like he's controlling anything? Controlling his senses? He looks like he doesn't look like he's controlling anything. He looks like I don't even want to say anymore about these guys. These guys are the scum. They're the scum of the earth. They're scum. They're scumbags. They're like these drug lords and warlords and drug lords who cause so much misery to so many, people in poor countries and even in poor neighborhoods around the world, and then they go and they, like, Christmas comes around and they buy a bunch of toys for the kids, or they give out a bunch of food to people, whatever, and then it makes them look like, hey, I'm a great guy. Meanwhile, your thugs are out terrorizing, the countryside with their mafia tactics and all of these things. And then when it comes to the holidays, you want to donate a bunch of money to the orphanage, or donate a bunch of and try to buy the people's respect. And a lot of times, sometimes it works. So you go, well, he does a lot of bad stuff, but you know what? He pays my power bill, and he pays my rent. You know, that's the mafia shit. Been doing that shit forever. There's nothing new. Hey, Rafael. Hey, Rafael. I got a bunch of your videos on deck. So I got a lot of stuff. Good to see you here. I really hope God doesn't exist. God is not someone like what Prabhupada says in his books. If there is a God, I hope nothing is real. Yeah, you know, there's no way. God cannot be the way Prabhupada says in his books. It's just not. That's not God. In my opinion, religion is a tool created to bring comfort and control. Comfort people and control them. It's hard to control. It's hard to control people that are freaking out. It's hard to control people that are freaking out. If you join this cult, forget about living a normal life. Absolutely, you're right on. That's right. You're absolutely right about that. Forget about living a normal life. Forget about living a normal life. Absolutely, man. This cult sucks your soul into darkness. Yes, it does. It does. Absolutely. And there ain't no light. There's no chanting or be happy. No, there's no chanting be happy. Chanting to be happy that's the scam. Is to make you think that, oh, I can just chant and be happy. I can just chant and be... No, you can't just chant and be happy. Are you out of your mind? There's no chanting and be happy. As soon as you start chanting and you start reading this book about chanting, and they go, oh, I'm being offensive. I don't want to be offensive. He says offensive chanting is all this stuff, and I'm being... This is nothing but mental manipulation and scamming and bullshit. Retards are us. Retards are us. Retards are us, and we did it to ourselves, man. We did it to ourselves. Hey, some of you kids out there were brought up in it. You grew up in it. You didn't do it to yourselves, and I'm not, your parents are to blame. Your parents are to blame. I don't know what to say. It's like I brought my daughter into it, and she got out before I did. But I brought her in. I'm to blame. I brought her into it. I didn't have to bring her into it. And that's what they told me. They said, "Oh, it's your duty as a father to bring your kids in and raise them as a Krishna kid." But lots of criminals cosplaying and joining the cult. Almost normal to hear that devotees are criminals. Some are. You don't have to join a cult to be a criminal. Criminals can be criminals anywhere, anytime. They don't have to get up at 4:30 and shave their head and do all that just to be a criminal. I can get up at 10 o'clock and go rob a convenience store, and I don't have to get up. I don't shave my head. I don't chant. I don't do nothing. I don't need to join a cult. Why do I need to join a cult to be a criminal? In fact, it doesn't make sense. Normal people. I was normal. Normal people join cults. They're just open-minded. They don't know any better. They didn't see the red flags. They didn't even know there were red flags, and it seemed okay. That's the sinister evil con. It seemed okay. I didn't see anybody being held against their will. I didn't see anybody talking out. There was no internet, so I wasn't going to see any videos about it. But I didn't see anybody trying to escape, running around, run for your lives. No. I saw all these people cosplaying as holy men and holy women, and I bought into the scam. I bought into the scam. I ain't gonna lie, man. They can't do regular jobs, so they resort to drug dealing, the pick, and scamming gigs. That was the one thing I wasn't gonna do. I wasn't gonna give up my job and move into an ashram and dedicate my life to one of these scammer gurus. I just wasn't gonna do it. I wanted to be Krishna conscious. I wanted to chant and be happy. I wanted to worship Prabhupada. I wanted to accept Prabhupada as my guru. I didn't trust these bozos or anything. And that was just me. And I think there's a lot of people like that, but that was me. most of the people around me were like, they had a guru. They had a guru somewhere, some foolish guru. And I would just think, that guy is no fucking guru. I met Tamal Krishna. I had dinner with that guy, and I immediately said, what the fuck? You guys think this guy's a guru? What the fuck? You guys are nuts. You guys are nuts. But I still bought into the whole thing. I recognized that Tamal Krishna was no guru. Hridayananda was no guru. And all these other bozos I see at the LA Town, they're no guru. You can sit there and you can talk a story and tell a story and read out of a book and do that whole thing and act all, and wag your head and, but that don't matter. Fuck that. But yeah, they, like my roommate Vadiraj, he couldn't do it. He didn't have a job. He couldn't do it. What the fuck do you know how to do? These guys have been in Hare Krishna since they were 18, 19 years old. The only thing he could do was drive a taxi. He could barely do that. Australia's too woke nowadays, and everyone needs to support him. I was in Melbourne, and yeah, he's a scumbag. This guy, it looks like he just sits around and stuffs his face all day. And he's a holy man. He deserves an award for multicultural what? Like, what the fuck did he ever do? Oh, here comes the construction. The construction work going on. Scam of the earth. Full stop. This guy scamming these people. These people could be given an award. These people could be given an award to somebody who deserves it. Somebody who's actually done something. No, they're giving it to this fat fuck who's never done a goddamn thing in his life. Except sell drugs. Hey, I'm glad you're here too, man. It's not every day I get my producer to join in on the show. You send me stuff all the time, and you're not here, and I'm like, oh, well. Yeah, this is courtesy of Raphael, and I didn't even know. I didn't know that he was winning this. I know who this guy is. I've never met him, but I know who he is. I didn't know he won an award a couple weeks ago, like a week ago. They gave him some reward. New Varna Ashram, the Abuserpada Mafia. I know this. So Ileana, you actually saw him. You got to see him you got to see him in action. And that's why having live chatters in here, you guys in here, because you can attest to things that I'm saying. It's not like I'm just make a video and I post my video and then it's like, no, you don't have to take my word for it. All you new people, you don't have to take my word for it. Eliana right here, he is a bullshit. He had servants running around doing his work for him like slaves, and they're so brainwashed that they literally worship him. I saw all this in Melbourne. Because he's a Prabhupada disciple, they all think that these Prabhupada. I saw it firsthand. We went to Vrindavan. I'm with two Prabhupada disciples. I got Radhakunda over here. I got Bir Lakshman over here. And boy, they just, as soon as they said Radhakunda, Bir Lakshman, Prabhupada disciples, it's like, I guess they didn't want to commit an offense. So they're like, oh my goodness, come with us. And they just hustled all three of us. And I immediately said, I'm not a Prabhupada disciple. I'm just with, and they're like, doesn't matter, come with us. And they just hustled us off. And, they took us over and they gave us like a tour. And then they took us out in the back and they go, we got prasadam for you. And they fed us. And just, it was like, whatever, you need anything. And so I can see how, Radhakunda he could totally exploit that and be like, well, you know what? Do you have a room where I could sleep? And maybe a servant I could, maybe, do you have Someone that could like wash my clothes for me and maybe cook my lunch. Can you do something? That's Radha Kun. He would totally go. So I could see Bhaktidas having, the balls to go, yeah, I'm Bhaktidas. Hey, get down. What are you doing? I'm Bhakti. Didn't you hear what I said? I'm Bhaktidas. Hey, man. Bragging about being in Bangkok and having sex with prostitutes and whatever. It's not so much to brag about, because that's like anybody and everybody does that. So it's like, what? I mean, like, that's not a big achievement. That's not a big achievement. But I guess, for him, look at him. I guess it is a big achievement for him. How am I saying? I guess for him it is a big achievement. But that's this guy. This is what I'm saying. Like, he's no different than Radha Kun. He's like, I'll go to Bangkok and I'll be banging these broads. I'll be banging these bar girls, these prostitutes, these hookers, these whatever. I'll do that on the weekend, and then during the week, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna play holy man. I'm gonna put on my big fat dhoti and my big fat kurta, and I'm gonna go get awards for being a holy man. When all I am really I'm just cosplaying. When I'm not in Bangkok, I cosplay as a holy man. When I'm not cosplaying as a holy man, I'm off to Phnom Penh getting 12-year-old girls and in a hotel somewhere. That's what these guys are doing. Just live your life. Why you gotta pretend to be somebody you're not? Why you want to go get prostitutes in Bangkok? Go get them. But you're so caught up in this holy man thing that you gotta pretend you're a holy man so you can win fake awards while you stand there and he's even got the stupid chadar on his shoulder like he's so pucka devotee bullshit. Fucking pisses me off, man. Pisses me off. This guy. Fucking, they're all the same. You're no different than Gaurahari. You're no different than Trivikram. You're no different than Yashodananda. Different than Tattva Darshan or Madhu Pandit. They're all the fucking same. All bullshit. Bullshit artists. Every single one of them. Fake. Yeah, excuse me while I meditate on my dancing girls. Meditate on my dancing girls. Prabhupada Vishnu X-Swami, fallen in Kosan Road and Nana Place, twisted crooks. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now. When I was living, I moved out of Pattaya. I was in Pattaya for like 2 years. I was in Pattaya, and I was living in a condo, and one day I see a devotee walking around. He's got a shaved head and a sika, and he's got his beads, and he's walking around. I hear him like Krishna, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I see him. I'm waiting for the elevator, and I see him walk. He's outside. I'm inside. There's like a window, glass. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking Hare Krishna. There's a Hare Krishna in my building. You gotta be kidding me, man. You gotta be fucking kidding me. And so then I see him again. I walk past him again, and I'm like, and I'm all disgusted. I'm just like, because it's just like, fuck, I gotta be around this guy with his bead bag and his neck beads and the whole thing. And then one day he walked by. One day, absolutely, man. And then Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Ram Ram. And so one day, again, I'm standing by the elevator, and he's outside again, and I'm inside, and I hear him. It's exactly what I hear. Ram Ram Krishna Krishna Ham Ram Ram, and I turn and I look, and I see him, and I said out loud, my girlfriend's standing right now. I see him right now, and I'm like, oh, this fucking Krishna. I said it out loud. I thought I was saying it in my head, like Homer Simpson. But I thought I said it in my head. I said it out loud. I go, oh, this fucking Krishna freak. And he looked, and the window was open. It was, and he heard me. He heard me, and he immediately turned his head and looked at me when I said that. And I just looked at him like, yeah, you a fucking freak. And then he just kept on walking. But then I was like, oh shit, maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe he's, I don't know. I didn't like it. But anyway, I'm like, bewildered by the scene in Patya, these bastards. So then I'm thinking, like, what's he doing here? I mean, I wasn't like on Walking Street. I was in my condo, which is nowhere near the nightlife. But I was just wondering, what are you doing in this part of town? Like, why would a Hare Krishna come here? Why would you come here? Why would you come here to be a Hare Krishna? And it just reminded me of my friend Radha Kund, who's like, he'd go to Bangkok and be a Hare Krishna, and then and then at night he'd go to Pat Pong or wherever he wanted to go. He could do that. Like, we're being Hare Krishnas during the day, and we're going, and then at night he's like, come on, let's go to. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I got to show you. And I've told that story many times. And then he takes me to Pat Pong, and we go into a strip club. So he had no problem just turning it on and off. Like, I'm going to cosplay. No, I'm not. I'm going to literally putting on a costume. I mean, that's literally the definition of putting on a costume. I mean, if you're gonna put your costume on all day, and then hey, it's 9 o'clock. Let's go to the strip club. Let me take off my curtain doti and put on my jeans and my T-shirt and my baseball cap, and we're gonna go sit and have some drinks and hang out with the bar girls. And then when we're done doing that, we're gonna go back and then we're gonna get up and go to Mangalarki. To me, it was just like, that's not the life I want to live. I mean, I didn't mind going. Honestly, I didn't mind going to the strip club because I wasn't like, oh, that's an effect, But that's not why I was there, and that wasn't the point of the whole thing. I was very, I wasn't a fanatical extremist freak where it was like, oh, I can't go. But so I was like, yeah, sure, you want to go? Let's go. I don't care. Let's go. What bothered me is his ability to just turn it on and off at the flip of a switch, which is no different than this guy, which is no different than any of these guys. They're all the same. They're all 50-50 Swami and 50-50 Swami. Because if you're a real Swami, when you're a real Swami, you don't just go, oh, hey, you know what? I'm done being a sannyasi monk. No, you don't get to do that. See, if these guys should have been told, if you fall down from being a monk, you got to go and you can't be part of ISKCON anymore. Then that would separate the cosplayers from the realists. You take sannyas and put on that orange outfit. If you fall down, you're done. You're out of ISKCON. Done. Then we'll see. Well, then we'll see how many people want to be sannyasis, because they don't want to give up their cash cow. If they got to, no, they ain't gonna do that. But if they can get away with it, just faking it. If I can fake it, sure, I'll do it. Because I can fall down and this fuck is gonna back me up. A big Bhakti Vikasa, he doesn't care. And Hridayananda and all these guys, they don't give a fuck. bullshit, man. Bullshit. So we did Bhakta Das. I think I'm done with Bhakta Das. You'll come show up on my door one day. Yeah, I can't stand that. I just can't stand that. It's just, it gets to me. So we did knitting cult lady, Okay, so now we're gonna do this. So this again is more the same. More the same with this guy. And he gives it away. He gives it all away. Let me turn up the volume on him so you can hear every disgusting thing he says.
That sometimes we see devotees who say demoniac things, or they subscribe to demoniac philosophies. Is it right to call him a demon? I learn in Bhagavad Gita, Dvo bhuto sarge lokesmin daiva asura evacha. There are two kinds of people in the world, devotees and demons.
Okay, so again, you'll know, just in this short 1 minute thing, there's so many contradictions. Okay, he says that in the scriptures there's two kinds of people. There's only two kinds of people: devotees and demons. So if you're either a devotee or a demon, that's it. And Prabhupada says that many times in his books. It's not just stated one time. There's one verse that actually says it as a verse, but Prabhupada refers to that verse and he says it and he quotes it many times all throughout his books. There's two kinds of people: devotees and demons. Devotees go back to Godhead, and demons go to the hellish planets. That's it. You get reborn. You go to the hellish planets. You got to suffer, and you come back, and and then you take birth again. And then you suffer, and you come back, and you suffer, and you come back, and you come somewhere back. You're a demon. That's all you do. So there's only two kinds of people. There's devotees and there's demons. That's it.
There's nothing in between. Well, Krishna does give something in between.
Of course. Of course. There's always an exception.
Find in the Bhagavatam, Ishvare tadadhineshu balisheshu dvishatshu cha. There are four kinds of beings. There's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotees, the demons, although the words aren't used exactly here, and the innocent people. So now you got a contradiction. So he says, first he says there's two kinds of people: demons and devotees and demons. And now he says there's four kinds of people, and so that's a contradiction. So, but he's going to explain it because he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Hugh Turvey walking. This guy, man. This saffron turkey. He is the. I call him crypt keeper Ananda. He's crypt keeper Ananda. This guy. There I am. I mean, I'm no better. I'm practically the crypt keeper too. But I don't dress like crypt keeper. Well, maybe I do. I don't know. Let's see. One's completely good and no one's completely bad. Krishna says, when he was discussing about Duryodhana, in this world no one is completely good and no one is completely bad.
Okay, so there's two kinds of people. There's demons and there's devotees, and yet no one is completely good and no one is completely bad. Okay.
Of course, devotees, they're completely good.
But devotees, of course, are completely good. So there are people that are completely good. So no one is completely good and no one is completely bad, but devotees are completely good. So it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter if I say there's two kinds of people or four kinds of people. It doesn't matter if I say there's only demons and devotees, or if there's nobody, if not everybody is completely good, because it doesn't matter, because it's all bullshit. He's already contradicted himself. Everything he said the opposite of. So
Yasyasti bhakti bhagavat
another verse.
savai gunais tatra samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kato mahan guna manoratena sati davato behi. Those who are fully dedicated to the personality of Godhead, they have all godly qualities, and those who are not devotees of the Supreme Lord, even though they may have good qualities, they're not considered proper qualities at all.
Okay, so now he's back to there's two kinds of people. There's devotees and there's non-devotees, and that even though the non-devotees may appear to have some good qualities, they don't have any good qualities at all. So we're back to square one again. So we're back to there's good and there's bad.
They're not mahan guna. They're not fully developed qualities. We also learn from Bhagavad Gita, from Krishna's instruction, that even if a devotee is bad,
there it is. So there's the coup de grace. There's the cherry on top. So it doesn't matter whether there's good people, bad people, devotees, demons. None of that matters, because Krishna says
is good.
Even if a devotee is good, even if a devotee is bad, he's good.
That sometimes we see
one who is engaged in transcendental service and blah, 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 fixed in devotional service, even if he commits the most abominable act, he is still considered saintly. So there's nothing that anyone can do. There's nothing anyone can do to ever be considered, a devotee can never be considered a demon, because it's just, there's nothing Krishna says. So why do I need to follow four regulative principles? If this guy has to forgive, okay, let's get him again. If this guy is forced by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, if this guy is forced to forgive everything, then why doesn't he forgive people who break the four regulative principles, smoke cigarettes, eat meat? Why don't you forgive that? If you're going to sit there and you're going to forgive a child molester, and child molester, someone who kills children, someone who just brutally kills children. I mean, that's the most abominable thing you could do, right? Just to start going into this slaughtering friggin' maternity ward in a hospital, just massacring babies in their cribs. That's the most abominable thing, right? And Krishna says, hey, even if somebody's doing that, if he's chanting Hare Krishna, Vandehum, if he's doing that, hey, he's fixed in transcendental, he's considered saintly. What kind of bullshit is that? What kind of bullshit you want me to believe? You want me to believe that crap? That's what Krishna's saying in Bhagavad Gita. That's what Krishna's saying. So out of all the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses, Arjuna not knowing what to do, the battle's about to go, he sees his family on one side and family on the other side. Oh, Krishna, I don't know what to do. I'm so upset. I don't want to kill anybody. And Krishna he says all this stuff about the mind and the senses and everything. Knowledge of the Supreme and all of this stuff. What difference does it make? He says even if somebody's abominable, he's still saintly. Well, who cares all that other crap? Bhagavad Gita should have been like 5 verses. 5. And then that one would have been the last verse. If everything else fails, just read the last verse. Because evidently you don't need to know anything or do anything. I mean, if I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I'm fixed in devotional service, and I'm slaughtering babies. How am I fixed in devotional service while I'm slaughtering the babies? Or molesting the children or whatever? It doesn't matter. These people make no sense. This guy makes no sense. How can you call yourself a holy man and then you sit there and go, look, I got to go pal around with these. It's one thing to forgive a child molester. I understand. You want to be a holy man. You want to be forgiving. I am going to forgive this man. Hey, son, I forgive you. I forgive you.
Well, you have to go pal around with him now? Go party with him? I gotta go to his. I gotta go. What? Let me see. Just because it says that in the Bhagavad Gita doesn't mean that you gotta make a video.
All glories to Srila Lokanath Maharaj on the glorious 50th anniversary of his accepting the sannyas danda from the hands of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada.
How fucking stupid is that? How fucking stupid you gotta be? What a fucking idiot. He took a stick. He got a stick from another guy. One guy gave him a stick, and he took these vows. But even carrying that stick around with him didn't stop him from molesting little girls. And even though he's molested these little underage girls, his only real crime is he didn't marry them. Because if he had married them, then hey, he can have sex with these little girls all he wants. But even though he did all that, I'm still going to make a video telling him how great he is and how it's so wonderful that he got his stick from Srila Prabhupada. Although that stick didn't do him any good, he still became a child molester. But he's just so proud that he got his stick from the hand of Prabhupada. He's just so proud that Prabhupada had no clue that this guy was going to go and be a friggin' child molester. This guy's so proud of the fact that he's that.
I'd very much like to be with you all there.
Eh,
I'm not physically present.
what can I do? I want to be there, but hey, what can I do? You know, I can't hang out with all of you child molesters at the same time. So, I hang out with Bhakta Das for a little while, and then I'm going to go hang out with Bhakta Vidya Purna Swami. And then, I might go hang out with Bhavananda in Mayapur for a while. And then, I got my buddy Indra Yumna Swami over there. And then, of course, there's Prabha Vishnu Swami, and there's Giriraj and Trivikram. I got to hang out with them, too. I got to hang out with all the scumbags. So, hey, I wish I could be there with you, Lokanath, but, there's so many of you fucking disgusting pieces of shit that I got to go hang out with that I can't be everywhere. I can't be everywhere. Creep freaking Ananda. I know, man. I know. It friggin' blows my mind. That guy is going to make a video about how I'm sorry I can't be at this grown man's party. These guys are such foolish fucking freaks, man. They think they're the Dalai Lama. They think they're the Pope of the world. Like they're doing something. This guy thinks he's doing something. He thinks going to friggin' Lokanath's birthday party is somehow doing something for the world.
There in my heart, not physically present, and just trying to be a little realistic, because if I go to Vrindavan at this...
You're not being realistic. You're being a fucking freak. You're being a fucking fool, being a freak. You know who's being realistic? Me. Calling you out on your bullshit. You're a piece of shit. Glorifying these child molesters. Have you said anything about the girl that he molested? Have you sent her a video saying, hey, I'm sorry that my buddy molested you? I'm sorry you were molested by a pure devotee guru. You do that? Did you send her a birthday card? Did you send her a birthday card saying, hey, I'm sorry my cult molested you when you were 11, 12, 13? You do anything? You do anything other than say, fuck them kids? All you guys can do is just say, fuck them kids. Fuck them kids. This piece of shit.
Season, practically guaranteed, I'm going to get...
I don't care how many kids that have been abused by this in our movement. I don't care how many of our children see me sitting up here glorifying these pedophiles and these child molesters and these fucking abusers. Videos of people like Narnarayan on the internet where he's sitting there like he's some holy man. videos, all these guys up there. And do you think they care about these little children that are watching these guys? Is that guy molested me when I was 3. That guy molested me when I was 5. That guy knocked my teeth out when I was 4. Oh, that's the guy that molested my sister. Oh, that's the guy that married my sister off. They don't give a fuck about that. They don't give a fuck. Prabhupada despised his wife for drinking tea, yet he huffed tobacco dust all day long. I know. His wife was demoniac and Prabhupada was, I know. Fucking ridiculous. The best thing she did was sell his books so she could buy some tea. She should have fucking burned his books. She should have fucking threw his box of books in the fucking river is what she should have done. She would have saved us all. If she had fucking put an end to his bullshit, it would have saved us all, man. Why? I'm pissed off she didn't do more to fucking ruin his freaking mission. This fucking guy is evil. They're all the same. They're all evil. Just sit there and act like you're a fucking holy man while you're defending this fucking child molester and glorifying him and telling him, making a video saying, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to your birthday party. You child molesting freak. Verbal bullshit always as a fake show. Yeah, they will find any, that's what I'm saying. These, Krishna says, and with Chota Haridas, he didn't get no breaks. Chota Haridas didn't get no breaks. What they didn't know about that verse. They knew about that verse. That verse don't mean what they think it means. That verse doesn't mean that you can go molest children or you can go put 2 bullets in a guy's head and everything's okay because you're chanting Hare Krishna and you got Tulsi Mala around your neck. That's not what that verse means. That verse is from Bhagavad Gita, and where Krishna is instructing Arjuna. It had nothing to do with Vaishnavism. There was no Vaishnavism. 5,000 years ago, there was no Vaishnavism. There was no Vaishnavism 800 years ago when Bhagavad Gita was written. There was no Chaitanya running around chanting Hare Krishna. It's all bullshit. That verse doesn't mean that if you're a Vaishnav guru or you're worshiping Krishna or doing devotional service, you get to do whatever the fuck you want, molest who you want, hit who you want, smack around who you want. That's not what that verse is saying. Otherwise, Chota Haridas wouldn't have fucking jumped in the river. Vishnu Jan wouldn't have jumped in the river. Why did Vishnu Jan kill himself? Why did Jagjivan kill himself? Why didn't these devotees that know what it says? How come they killed themselves? They say, well, no. I've done some horrible things, but Krishna says I'm a devotee, so hey, I get a pass. How come they didn't get no pass? How come Chota Haridas didn't get no fucking pass? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have smacked this guy in the head and said, get your face out of my face with that quoting Bhagavad Gita bullshit. That's what he would have told him. I don't even want to see you. I don't want to see your face. You're defending the face of a man who begs rice from Madhavi Devi because, Bhakti Vikasa would have stood up and said, hey, wait a minute. Mahaprabhu. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that even if someone does something abominable and he's chanting Hare Krishna, he should be thought of as saintly. So obviously Chota Haridas, he didn't do anything abominable. He just got some good rice. So there's no need for you to cast him out. Get so angry. You're not following Krishna's teachings in Bhagavad Gita, Mahaprabhu. Is that what he would have said to Mahaprabhu? I'm sure Bhakti Vikasa Swami would have stood right up to Mahaprabhu and said, hey, wait a minute. What are you doing casting out Chota Haridas? Mahaprabhu would have said, get your face out of my face. Get your fucking face out of my face. You sticking up for, he told them, if you bring up Chota Haridas one more time, I'm leaving and you're never going to see my face. You're gonna tell me that Bhakti Vikash would have told Mahaprabhu, oh no. Chota Haridas, he it's okay. In fact, I'm gonna go have lunch with him. I'm gonna go wash his feet. You tell me, give me a fucking break. How come nobody stands up and asks him when he's giving a lecture and say, hey, excuse me, Mahaprabhu, excuse me, Bhakti Vikash, Fraudapod, you keep saying that it's our duty to forgive. Why didn't Mahaprabhu forgive Chota Haridas? If Bhagavad Gita says he's got to forgive, I mean, Chaitanya is the most, what do we call it? Magnanimous incarnation of Krishna. He's giving love of Krishna. He's opening up the storehouse of Krishna, flooding the whole world with love of Krishna. So why would you chastise Chota Haridas for getting some fucking good rice? Why didn't he say, well, there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita, and it's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? You think I'm that stupid? You think I'm so stupid? You think I'm stupid? His followers might be stupid, and I believe that they are stupid. His followers are stupid enough to believe that shit. I ain't that dumb. I ain't dumb enough to believe that bullshit. I'm not even a guru or Swami or nothing. I'm just Sri Mukunda. But you're gonna tell me that Chota Haridas had to commit suicide for begging some good rice from Madhavi Devi, who was an intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya? And they didn't know that they could forgive him because there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita that says that anybody who does anything horrible can be, well, begging good rice from Madhavi Devi wasn't anything horrible. He wasn't like Lokanath Swami molesting some little kids. Please need to understand, Chomo are sick. They will definitely commit crimes against children time after time. There is reason why they are not allowed to live anywhere. Exactly. That's what these people don't understand. Because they're under this delusion that even if they're child molesters or whatever, that they can just friggin' chant Hare Krishna and everything's okay. Like somehow chanting Hare Krishna is going to stop these child molesters from molesting children. It doesn't stop anything from anything. All these fake cosplaying are all crooked as hell. Yeah, if they're not molesting children themselves, they're friggin' sitting there like this guy saying it's okay. Why didn't he say, look, why doesn't he just say, no, he can't. He can't even come out and go, look, you've done some horrible things and I'm going to forgive you. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that we have to forgive you. I forgive you, but you know what? We're not friends anymore. And I'm not coming to your birthday parties, and I'm not sending you a birthday card, and I'm not visiting your temple, and I'm not lecturing in your I'm not doing any of that. No, he can't do that. Cannot do that. Can't do it. Who is the guy? Is it the comedian actor, Seth Rogen? Seth Rogen and I guess James Franco used to be best buddies, making movies together. They made like 3 or 4 movies together, these guys. Hanging out together, doing all this stuff. As soon as some allegations against James Franco came out, Seth Rogen said, hey, we're not friends no more. I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't want nothing to do with you anymore. I'm sorry. We used to be buddies, but not anymore. He doesn't talk to him. He doesn't make movies with him. He doesn't appear with him. He doesn't do anything. That's it. I'm done with you. That's Seth Rogen. That's a pot-smoking comedian. Has got more sense than this holy man. He's got more sense than this holy man. Holy man doesn't even know how to be holy. Barf is right, man. It's fucking disgusting. This bullshit is disgusting. Hugh Turvey. This fucking Hugh Turvey is based in Salem, South India. His disciples building a temple there. It's fucked up disciples. Raising money, scamming people for money to build him a temple. Why? What the fuck has he ever done? The fuck's he ever done? Tell me what the fuck's he ever done? Except sit there and preach about how women suck, women are this and that. He doesn't give a fuck about children. He doesn't give a fuck about anybody but himself. He's fucking mad at the world, this guy. They're sick as hell. They'll strike time. Yeah, absolutely. That's why being a sex offender in America, pretty much you can't live anywhere. Yeah, no good rice, man. No good rice. And this is bullshit. This is bullshit, man. Like, did we forget about that? Has everybody forgotten about that? That Chaitanya sent him away and he committed suicide over some goddamn fucking rice? And this guy's like, oh yeah, rice, no good. Child molesting, hey, you know, what can I say? What can I say? I can't say enough. I can't say enough about it.
Cough, which is going to go on for weeks and weeks and weeks. So please excuse me for not being present, and trust you're having a absolutely.
Who gives a fuck that you're not present, you piece of shit? Fucking piece of shit, man. Swear to God. Ugh. Whoops. Yeah, you know, exactly. That's why they don't turn them in. I know they don't turn them in. They don't turn them in because they know that they know it ain't gonna end well. They know it ain't gonna end well. Yeah. They murdered children in jail. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And they don't want to turn them in. They don't want to turn them in. They would rather put their kids at risk than turning them in, because that's their buddy. The saffron fake monk, like all of them, Hugh Turkey needs to be in jail. Hugh is a disgusting piece of shit. This guy is just as bad as all of them. He's gonna sit there and preach about how we gotta all let these guys go and just forgive everybody for everything. He basically is what he's saying. Is forgive everybody for everything. Scholars in real historic research say the Gita was comprised over several centuries, as evidenced by all the schools of yogas in it. The original text was only the Sankhya chapter, and that's it. Yeah, stuff got added, and it was finally, finished around 400 BC. Started about 1000 BC. I don't know. It's hard to say, but they can figure it out. Don't act like people don't know. They can figure it out. They can figure out exactly, down to a century or so when shit happened. It's not like they don't, like they can't, like everything's a guess. It's not all a guess. Like when Prabhupada is saying, 5,000 years ago there was this and there was that, Prabhupada's coming from a time from an era in history when a lot of that shit was a mystery and could never be proven yes or no. But now we've advanced so much in archaeology, in the history of human civilizations, of what they've learned, what they've been able to figure out through research, through radiocarbon dating and other methods that weren't available 100 years ago. When the guy broke into King Tut's tomb 100 years ago or 110 years ago, however many years ago it was, they didn't have the tools that they have today. Like, they couldn't see behind those rocks. They didn't have the radio spectrography or heat censoring stuff that they could figure, like they knew where to go. No, but they were all just guessing at what they're doing. They got so much more knowledge about how things are, knowledge about what they're looking at. Like, they hold something up and go, like Indiana Jones, he holds something up, he doesn't know what that is. It looks pretty old to me. But now they can figure out exactly what that was or where it came from a lot better than they could do 100 years ago. So Prabhupada's whole idea that, Sukadev Goswami came out of his mother's womb fully formed, a 16-year-old boy, he's like, he figured, science can't disprove that, or I don't know what, but you know what? Yeah, we can. We can disprove a lot of that shit. Hayden Erickson, how you doing? Great to see you. Tyranny in its pure form equals Hare Krishna movement. Absolutely. It's authoritarian dictatorship. It's the ultimate. Are you an atheist, sir? What difference does it make? What difference does it make? Does it matter? You can't tell? Is that your question? Everything that you've been watching me talk about, and your question is whether I'm an atheist. I'm talking about this guy and what it says in the Bhagavad Gita about child molesters and about abusers and about glorifying abusers and about Chota Haridas committing suicide and all of this stuff. And your question to me is, am I an atheist? You got to be out of your fucking mind. Out of your fucking mind. They're supposed to be pure devotees who have mastered their senses, right? Yeah, mastered their senses. Did Bhaktidas look like he mastered he mastered sticking a fork in his mouth. He mastered gobbling down some prasadam. He mastered that. That's what he mastered. But this guy, I'm bound to get back to this guy. Are you an atheist, sir? Like, what's that going to change? What does that have to do with anything? What is that going to change how is that going to change what I've said about this fucker and this fucking pedophile cult? What is that? How is that going to change anything? If I told you I'm from Canada, would that change anything? If I told you I was from Uruguay, or what? I live on a boat docked in Mississippi. What difference does it make? What does that have to do with what I'm talking about? Okay, so I got on a Hugh Turvey rant. I got on a Hugh Turvey rant, fucker. What else do I got here? Hey, Alexandra, 7720. How's it going? I want to engage it. I want this Kanish K Gupta at 4817. I want him to say something because he's being an idiot. Are you asking me if I'm an atheist? It's like, do you have a real fucking? Do you have anything to say? Do you have like a real, an honest, real thought that's formulated in your head, generated from your brain cells and your electricity and chemicals going off in your brain? That you're not reading from a book or that Prabhupada said or something? Do you have like a normal, original thought in your head about anything that I've said in the last 10 minutes? Other than asking me if I'm an atheist? You want me to tell you whether I'm an atheist or not, so you can just put me in the demon box? Oh, he's a demon atheist. Is that what it is? $77.20. How's it going there? Holy moly! Holy moly! So yeah, this is what these Christians do. They come in, they want to disrupt or say something because they don't like it, but then they don't got nothing to say. If you go to a Hare Krishna, like if you go to this Hugh Turvey's page or any of these pages and you look at the comments under their video, it's Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. All glories to Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna, Prabhupada, Jai, Shri Prabhupada. That's all they know how to say. They don't have an original thought. No, you're not a demon. They don't have an original thought. They can't come up with an original thought. They just can't. The only thing he can think of to do is to tell me that is to ask me if I'm an atheist. So then he can get into the atheist argument about God and this and that. He doesn't want to talk about these fucking cult that molests children. That's the last thing they want to talk about. Let's look at this. So now we got this Harvard dumbass Goswami. Harvard dumbass Goswami. And let's see.
What are your concerns?
Well, not exactly concerns, just I'm interested to hear a little bit more from you because you did an interview with Konteya Prabhu.
Oh, Konteya, he was quite...
He was a little provocative. It was a little provocative, yeah. But, my goal is to present what I'm calling a devotional account of what took place. So I don't want to try to do like an academic style history. I want everything to be accurate.
This guy.
I was joking. I never could have written that book because I had zero interest in Indian gurus, like really zero, none. Me, Prabhupada was everything. I was looking for someone that's going to show me God, take me to God. That's Prabhupada. I had no interest besides that in gurus.
You got to remember this. Where am I? You got to remember this dumbass went to Harvard. You got to remember this dumbass went to Harvard. Okay.
Or any of this stuff. And so, therefore, it's like, in other words, when Prabhupada left, there had never been in the history of ISKCON a bona fide guru who was not the founder Acharya.
Yeah.
There was not one single example of that.
Yeah.
And so then
So now he's gonna spend a few minutes pointing out the obvious. Pointing out the obvious to us.
Well, obviously you should have done this, but not done that. Well, why obvious?
Yeah, it wasn't so obvious.
Yeah, and then Prabhupada's instruction that don't change anything, just do everything the way I'm doing it. So what does that mean in this case?
Yeah.
And then the fact that practically from day one, we were being attacked by the Gaudiya Math. They were trying to steal ISKCON devotees, if not just steal ISKCON. And their main argument was, we have old senior gurus, you just have these young gurus. So if we would have come out and said, yeah, who are we? We're just a bunch of schmoes, we're not, then that would have played right into the hands of
Yeah, because you were just a bunch of schmoes. That's exactly who you were. You're a bunch of fakers and cosplayers. And you're still a bunch of fakers and cosplayers. You're absolutely right. You're a bunch of fakers and cosplayers. You were a bunch of fucking fakers and cosplayers. You weren't pure devotees. You weren't anything. You were nothing.
people who are trying to destroy ISKCON.
Yeah.
And so it was a very complex situation. There was no rule book. There was no, user manual. It was the first time that.
What are you talking about? You you had all this time with Prabhupada talking to you face to face. I can look up in the database all of these conversations that you had with him. All the times you're on the morning walks with him. All the lectures when you were sitting there listening to him and you could have raised your hand and asked a question. You could have asked him you had so many opportunities to say, Prabhupada, what's going to happen when you pass away? Are we all going to become gurus or not? You never said anything. You never questioned anything. Because you're a dumbass.
History of ISKCON, that someone was a guru, but not the Acharya, the founder Acharya. And so there was trial and error.
Trial and error. Trial and error with people's lives? Trial and error with little kids' lives? There's a lot of error when it came to those little kids that were being abused in these schools, and that abuse started when Prabhupada was there. The abuse was going on when Prabhupada was there, and it carried over, and you guys didn't do nothing about it. And you guys want to call yourselves leaders, acharyas, gurus. You want all the glorification. You want all the glory, but you don't want to take responsibility for shit that happened while you were in charge. You guys are nothing but a bunch of pieces of shit.
And another reason, just to save a lot of time. I mean, to me as a historian, this is not a big deal to figure out. Another point is that
you're a historian, but you believe this bullshit fairy tales in these books about demons eating the moon. You're gonna sit there and say that you're a historian, but you believe that Maharaj Pariksit was the ruler of the world, and he split the world up between his sons. And Sukadev Goswami came out of his mother fully formed at the age of 16 and went running across India. You want me to believe that shit? You want me to believe you went to Harvard? And you believe that a man came out of his mother's womb fully formed, a fully formed 16-year-old boy, man? Just came out running? You really want me to believe that? This guy wants you to believe that he somehow went to Harvard. And he's so smart. He went to Harvard, but yet he believes in this mythology and these fairy tales as if it's facts. And he's going to sit there and call himself I'm a historian. He had to call himself a historian. If that is the stupidest thing you ever heard.
If you look at the standard sociology of religion, especially the sociology of religion that talks, you see, sometimes some academic things are really needed so we don't say stupid things.
No, for sure. Yeah, I appreciate it.
This guy says nothing but stupid things. This guy says nothing but stupid things. If this guy had gone to Harvard and gotten even the basic Harvard education, he'd realize that he's in a cult, and he'd realize that this cult is a bunch of bullshit, and that there are no gurus, there is no parampara, there's no demon head eating the moon, there's no spaceman floating between planets playing a guitar. Women aren't less intelligent. They don't like to be raped. Hitler was not a gentleman. He was not a good guy.
I appreciate that. I didn't mean to dismiss the academic view. I just meant I want it to be a useful resource for Vaishnavas.
Yeah, of course.
And the guy talking to him is just as stupid, if not stupider than he is. He's just as stupid as he is. He can't sit there like me and go, but you went to Harvard. How do you believe this shit? You went to Harvard. Explain that to me. How did you take a history class and like how? I mean, and I understand it is possible because a lot of smart people just they they follow religions and they follow mythological stories and magical thinking and talking bushes and oceans splitting in half and people walking down the middle and all kinds of things. And, you know, they can do brain surgery and they can figure out mathematical problems and they still believe in these mystical, magical things. So I understand that. It happens. It happens. We believed it. Kanishka's wrong myth beliefs are forms of untruth. So he is false viewer of reality. It just well, Kanish didn't stick around. Kanish didn't stick around because he didn't want to. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. They just want to disrupt and you know, throw a monkey wrench into the engine. You know, they want to interrupt me and what I'm saying. They want me to lose my train of thought. They want to ask me stupid questions, so I waste my time answering their dumb questions instead of saying what I want to say. It's just they don't really want to learn anything.
And some reference to scholarship is good. I agree. I mean, it's not an academic paper, but in the sociology of religion, it's well understood, universally understood, that in the first generation of the new religious movement, almost always you have what is called a charismatic leader. Charismatic in this academic sense doesn't mean Elvis Presley. Charismatic means, in the old Greek sense, charisma. It means something like.
No. Cults have a charismatic leader. The charismatic leader, it's a cult of personality. And that's what you're in, buddy. And you want to be. You are one of those charismatic leaders. You're this guru. You are infected with the narcissistic holy man disease. You think that you're saving people. You think you're giving people something.
What we say, Shakti Aves, that.
You think you're giving people something. You think that you can sit there and go on a video and you can talk about these stories and these myths and these fables and these fairy tales, and that somehow people hearing you talk, somehow that's going to make their lives better, make them happy, make hot lips giggle. You're no different than Gora Hari and Hugh Turvey. You're the same scammer. And you're infected with the disease. You're infected with the charismatic leader disease. You're the charismatic leader that you're talking about. You're the one that thinks that you need to have servants and assistants and people wash your clothes and cook your lunch and call you Guru Dev and put flowers around your neck and wash your feet. Who are you trying to fool? Sitting there in your little black sweatshirt, whatever, and in your little Beverly Hills house or wherever you're living now. Santa Monica or whatever, Beverly Hills. You're not renounced. You don't look renounced at all. Looks like you're living pretty good. How come you're not living in Vrindavan in a holy place, like the books say? How come you're not living in Radhakund or Shamakund or Kusuma Sarovar or Govardhan Hill or Madhuvan? Or any of those places. I've been to those places. There's a lot of room for you there, Maharaj. You can go there and live there and renounce everything and be your guru and do what you're supposed to be doing. No. It's a lot more fun if you're sitting in your house in Beverly Hills, sitting in your nice comfy chair, wearing your $100 sweatshirt, sitting there and lecturing on the YouTube, than to go live in like a real guru, like a real monk, like a real sannyasi, like a real holy man. Go sit and just read all day. Read these books over and over all day, like these holy men do in India. Go live in a cave on Deo Prayag with your little lamp and beg for some ghee so you can have some light at night. And then just eat whatever somebody brings you to eat, and you can live like that. and live like a real monk. No, no, no. You want to live in Beverly Hills, sit in your little apartment, in your little house that your mother left you, or your rich parents left you, or whatever. Sit there with your fucking $3,000 couch and all your whatever. Fucking disgusting.
Someone impresses their followers that they have, that this leader has a special connection with God or with a high.
Like you. Don't you say, isn't that what you say? Isn't that what you say to your followers, that you have a special connection with God? You're connected to Prabhupada, right? Prabhupada made you a guru, right? So you're better than everybody else, and you went to Harvard. So aren't you the charismatic leader that has a special connection with God? Isn't that what you tell your followers? Hell, you translated the Bhagavatam. Didn't you translate the Bhagavatam? You must really be smart if you did that. Don't you have a Vyasa Puja and they all come and worship you and put flowers around your neck and lay down in front of you and say their pranams in front of you? And you gonna sit there like that don't happen? And now you're gonna talk about charismatic leader like that's not, like, you're not talking about yourself. You have a special connection with God.
Truth, and therefore what they say is the highest authority.
Well, don't you think that what you say is the highest authority?
And so Prabhupada, in that sense, in the academic sense, was a charismatic leader.
Yeah, he was a charismatic cult leader. Every cult has a charismatic cult leader. And when the charismatic cult leader, you become charismatic by proxy, which is you. And you're a charismatic cult leader of your little following. You didn't learn this in Harvard? How come I know this and I didn't go to Harvard, but you didn't learn this? How come you took all these classes in Harvard, sociology and psychology and all this bullshit and religion, and you didn't take no cult class? You didn't take no cult class so you could learn how to identify that your fucking fat ass is in a cult, you piece of shit. Ruining people's lives, trying to tell them that you're some kind of special connection with God.
So at that first stage, you don't really have an institution. You just have a leader and followers like Jesus and his apostles and other.
He's trying to explain how his cult isn't a bunch of bullshit. He's going to say, well, when Prabhupada left, we didn't have it. He's trying to talk about how, why didn't Prabhupada do it right? Why was it Prabhupada? I'm so fucking pissed off. If this be tablet of the Bhagavatam, this is this guy jumped on this on steroids. Fuck this guy, man. This guy is a piece of shit, man. This Kanista, man, is nothing but a demon on earth promoting fake news. This trash can, this guy, man. This fucking dumbass piece of shit.
Leaders, they just followed him around.
Yeah.
And the same with Buddha. So then, when inevitably the leader passes on, and then you go to the second stage where the charismatic leader, who's the glue that held everything together, that gave everyone faith, that person's not there. So how do you compensate for that? How do you keep the leader present? And so what all the science shows is that a movement, in order to survive the passing of that charismatic leader, it has to take that perceived authority and somehow channel it into a sustainable institutional structure.
I can't believe that this guy went to Harvard. He doesn't understand about cults. He studied religions and he studied history. He says he's academic. He says he's a historian, but he doesn't understand how a cult has to have a mission.
In other words, it's just like
and his mission and the cult when the charismatic leader passes, the transcendent mission carries on, and the cult transitions from a cult of personality to the cult with a transcendent mission. It's nothing hard to understand. It's very basic, elementary. And I believe that he knows he's in a cult. He knows he's a cult leader. He doesn't give a fuck. That's what it is. It is what it is. He discovered it too late, though. He discovered he was a cult leader in a cult too late, and I believe that that's part of his wanting to be. Hey, I'm not in a cult. I don't dress like a cult. I don't wear the orange thing. I mean, I'll put it on, but I don't do that. And I don't make my disciples do this or that. You know, he wants to be like I'm the good charismatic leader. He just said the charismatic leader makes his followers think that he's something special and he's got a unique connection with God. Well, that's exactly what he's got. He's got this unique connection to the Parampara. He's connected to Prabhupada, which goes all the way back to Krishna. All he's good at is spewing verbal diarrhea. Yeah, absolutely. The guy's a piece of shit. This man translated the Bhagavatam. Should have known that I would have known right then it's all fake. He did like the 11th and 12th canto, I think. The 10th, 11th, and 12th. 11th and 12th, maybe part of the 10th. Part of the 10th, the 11th, and 12th, I think is what he did. He's a leader. He calls himself a leader. Yeah, he's a leader. He thinks of himself as a leader. He thinks this guy is such a big piece of shit.
He would just travel around naked and sleep out in the cold, which actually, because he died at a fairly young age because of that. But anyway, so he had followers, and his followers said, "We don't think so. We want a building to sleep in."
Yeah.
So Francis didn't want that, so they had to very politely kind of remove him from his own institution, and then build monasteries because.
Yeah, he's really good about talking about shit that has really nothing to do with anything important, and he's definitely not holy. He doesn't come across as a holy man. He doesn't, at least the Pope. When you see the Pope and they talk to him, he seems like a holy man, like a holy guy. And I'm not defending the Pope. I'm not into the Pope at all. I'm just saying he seems like a holy guy. Like he wants to bless everybody. He wants peace. He wants everybody to get along with everybody. He's always promoting like some kind of a thing where, everybody be nice. And he goes out and the crowds come and they love him and he's like all happy and he blesses them and he seems like a holy guy. This guy doesn't do that. What does this guy do? He doesn't do shit. Fucking pisses me off. None of these guys do anything. They haven't done a goddamn thing. Except sit there and think of themselves as the greatest thing that's ever fucking walked. Let me show you this. So they got this video on. This was just uploaded a couple of days ago, and this is another one that Rafael sent in. It says what I learned from 12 years in a Vedic Gurukula in India. For 12 years, I lived as a celibate monk in a traditional Vedic Gurukula ashram. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, I lived as a monk for 12 years. No, you were faking it for 12 years. If you were really a monk, there is no 12 years. You're either a monk or you're not. You don't become a monk and then go, oh, I was a monk for 4 years and then, no, that's not being a monk. You were faking it as a monk for 4 years. You were faking it. You were pretending you were cosplaying. You're going to tell me you were a monk. If you were really a monk, you'd still be a monk. That's what a monk is. A monk doesn't give up and go, you know what? I used to be a monk, but now I'm going to go open up a liquor store in the Bronx. No, I used to be a monk, but now I'm a skater and I'm skating and I have a sponsorship with Vans. and whatever. No. I used to be a monk. Now I'm competing in the Tour de France. No, that's not a monk. Monks don't give up. Don't call yourself a monk. Stop saying I lived as a celibate monk. You pretended to be a celibate monk for 12 years. You're no celibate monk. You're just pretending. You're pretending. You're playing. You're pretending. Fuck you and your I lived 12 years as a celibate monk. A life of discipline, devotion, Sanskrit study. Evidently it ain't, because you'd still be doing it if it was. If it was everything you say it is, you'd still be doing it. So evidently it's not. Fucking bullshit. People are so full of shit.
This day, it's a samskara, and samskaras are meant to create a certain imprint, an impression in your mind. So let today conclude all your training, all your experiences, everything that you hear today, all the good wishes, all the good blessings, and let that leave a mark in your mind, which will you remember for the rest of your life, and which will be a constant source.
Yeah, it'll traumatize you for the rest of your life. Absolutely. This one American monk, Radharaman at Radhakunj, just took sannyas. Yet he took sannyas. He's not gonna he's gonna give it up. I guarantee you, he give it up. He's gonna give it up. Look at this guy. This guy thinks he's a monk. Look, he's like
Source of your inspiration and the drive to guide you through your life.
again with the goddamn. I'm a white person, and I can experience your culture better than you can. It's friggin' Tarzan. The white man can live in the jungle better than the people that live in the jungle. The people that live in the jungle can't live in the jungle as good as Tarzan can. The white man that was raised by the apes or whatever, he's much better at being a jungle person than the people that actually live in the jungle. The white man that goes to Japan and becomes a samurai, he's a better samurai than all the Japanese people. They're not nearly as good a samurai as the white guy. The white guy is always a better guy. The white man's always better at it. The white man goes to China, becomes a kung fu martial arts expert. He becomes better than all the Chinese guys that do martial arts. Why? Because he's white. Guy goes to Tibet. White guy goes to Tibet. He's a better Dalai Lama than the Dalai Lama. Why? Because he's white. It's the same story over and over and over again. Dances with wolves. White man goes out, becomes a better Indian than the Indians. It's the same thing here. White man becomes a better Hindu than the Hindus. I can be a better Hindu than an actual Hindu because I'm white. Oh, and look who it is. It's Molester Swami. Molester Swami with his big shoes, with his wooden shoes, just like Yashoda used to wear, thinking that, oh, look how advanced I am. I got wooden shoes that hurt my toes, cramp my feet, and are just impossible to walk on. But I'm so advanced that I can wear these shoes. And even though I'm wearing these shoes, I still allow all this abuse going on in my. It doesn't make me any more holy, because I still treat the kids like shit.
Everybody here is from a different country, and so therefore all the different mentalities, the different.
And there you go. I've said it a million times. I'm going to say it a million times. These people join this cult from all over the world, and this cult brainwashes them into sending their kids to these friggin' concentration camps where they just beat the shit into them. Molestations go on. All kinds of shit goes on. You just said we have kids from all over the world here. Why? Those kids don't deserve to be in that friggin' in a concentration camp in India because your parents want to go play Hare Krishna somewhere, so they stick their kids in this friggin' concentration camp to be abused by these people, and the abuser and I know you're saying, well, Mike, that's a pretty harsh thing to say. Why would you say
ages you're able to work with. So it actually is
right there. There's the abuser right there. He's the abuser. He's the one that was allowing these kids to be abused. He has been kicked out of ISKCON. This man right here. Don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
real preparation. There isn't anything else that will prepare you like.
He's one of the worst abusers there is, and he's there. And all these kids from all over the world end up in this fucking monster's Gurukula. This guy. And these people have the nerve to put this on the internet just 13 days ago.
This will for actually dealing with
of this fucking monster and his Gurukula.
realities of life where everyone's not the same age, from the same background, from the same place.
These little kids from all over the world, they were lucky enough to be born in an industrialized, modernized, civilized country. And their parents get brainwashed by this cult, and they end up putting their little kids in these fucking concentration camps in India. And these little kids are like, what am I doing in this fucking school in India? I belong in Cincinnati. I was born in Baltimore. Why am I in India, shitting in a bucket and wiping my ass with my hand? Worshipping a fake white guru who thinks he's a child molester, who thinks he's talks to God.
To try to overcome all the obstacles, and then at certain point that will go. The problems with the obstacles, when the anarthas go from the heart, then that will be gone.
This is so not normal. It's so not normal. It's just not. It's not normal. India Gurukulas are the worst. They are. They all get physically abused through always, and they're brainwashed into it's their karma. It's their karma. And these gurus, fuck them kids. Worship these gurus. Worship that guy sitting there, that piece of shit. Where is this piece of shit? Where is this piece of shit?
World famous Bollywood and celebrity astrologer, numerologist, palmist.
That you can achieve it, you can do it.
Personalities.
This
there will
guy.
be, we talk about those.
The abuser sitting right there. The abuser sitting right there. Thinks he's a white Hindu guru. He's nothing but a fake guru, fraud, child abusing monster. One of the most horrible people that's ever been in ISKCON. People are falling for unfortunately, people are falling for it every day. People falling for this shit every day. This new sannyas, Radha Raman, leaves his saffron cloth for months at a time to go party in Miami. Exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. These guys have no self-awareness where they're putting up a video 13 days ago. 2 weeks ago, they put this video up of this Bhakti Vidya Purna Swami in his Gurukula with all these little kids that were abused and tortured and beat and raped and whatever else went on. It was so bad he's been kicked out I don't know if he's back or not. I think he's back. That's how disgusting these people are. He gets girls for pay. There has fun parties and then goes back for the wintertime to wear saffron and cosplay as a monk and now a sannyas. Exactly. That's why I'm saying, I talk about my friend Radhakund. I talk about my friend Radhakund because he's just like typical devotee. Typical devotee. Radhakund had everybody fooled that didn't know him well enough. They would say, "Oh, Radhakund, yeah." And when he moved to Vrindavan, he had everybody fooled. He was like Bhakta Das. People had no idea what he was doing back in California before he went to India and decided he was gonna be 50-50 Swami. They had no idea. They don't care. They don't care. Yeah, people stand up and say, "Hey, we're tired of these gurus sticking up for each other and disrespecting our kids." No, you hear anybody saying that disrespecting our kids? No, I don't care. Brahmachari ashram and the entire concept of a gurukul is poison. Celibacy nonsense. They're not dealing with puberty the right way, and it's sad. This isn't Hinduism. It is sad. It's ancient thought. It's trying to work 1,000-year-old culture, like stuff that was going on 1,000 years ago, into doing that stuff in the modern world. You just can't do it. It's like the Amish in America. It's like the Amish wanting to live with horse and buggies and no electricity and no anything, nothing. It's 1859. No zippers, no anything. But they're faking it too. The Amish are faking it too, because you can't do that. You just can't. I mean, unless you're like a tribe on North Sentinel Island, and you're just like, no one, you kill anybody who goes on your island. So yeah, we haven't changed in 5,000 years. We're still hunting with bows and arrows, and if you come near us, we're going to shoot you. But the world can't operate like that, and it's not operating like that, and it never will operate like that. Sentinel Island operates like that, but that's it. That's it. You can't live like that. You can't live like the Amish. No vaccines, no medicine after 1850. Like no. And these Hare Krishnas, these putting their kids in a school where they're tortured and beaten, and women like to be raped, have small babies. You're talking about shit that people just don't believe anymore. Child marriage. You wonder why India is the way it is. And I love India. I love India. But when you go over there and you see the way it's different than any other country, for a reason. You can't have a modern country and live in the year 1000. It doesn't work that way. He leaves for the summer, rents a nice car, and hires girlfriends, and goes back to wearing monk clothes in India. He's a disciple of Narayan. Yeah, see? It's 50-50 Swami. I can live part of the time in the modern, normal reality world, and then I'll live 50% of the time in this make-believe fantasy land. And I'll just bounce back and forth. And I'll be a normal person part of the time, and then I'll be a cosplaying freak the rest of the time. And that's all it is. And that's all it is. And all you new people out there, you got to understand that's all it is. Exactly. Look at Prema Pradeep, who thinks he's special because he's a lifelong monk, yet is watching porn all day and falling in love with girls. Yeah, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. The Hare Krishna doesn't burn up karma. It doesn't remove desires. It doesn't take away the filthy things. It doesn't do any of that. You might get some enjoyment out of it, but that's like saying, you know, if I really like the Beatles, and if I listen to the Beatles music, then that just removes all my sexual desires, and I can be celibate. No, you might think it does, and it might do it for a while, and you convince yourself it's doing it, but that ain't what's happening. That just ain't happening. It just ain't happening. I don't think Vedic civilization was what Prabhupada portrayed it. It never existed. It never existed the way Prabhupada says. The way he painted this picture, it just doesn't exist. It only exists in order to brainwash us into that cult. That's the only way it exists. And that's the only reason it exists. Prabhupada created that in order to advance his cult. That's why so many of these Indians went to Prabhupada and said, do we have to accept these stories as fact? It's like I grew up a Hindu. I never had to accept this stuff as fact. And Prabhupada is like, no, you got to accept this as fact. That's why I'm saying, me saying that there's no spaceman floating between planets playing a guitar and there ain't no demon head eating the moon. I'm not bashing Hinduism. Hey, I love that you got stories and mythology. That's like saying there's no Medusa with snakes growing out of her head. There was no Medusa. You say, oh well, you're bad mouthing Greek culture. No, I'm not bad mouthing Greek culture. I think the story of Medusa is great, but she didn't exist. It ain't real. That's what I'm saying. They're not able to be themselves and be a good, honest person. Yet they don't. They don't. I remember my friend Radha Kund is telling me, he's saying, even if you could prove to me that Hare Krishna is not real, I would still do it because it's fun. And that's like saying, I like going to the drum circle. And just leaving it at that. But when your drum circle is racist, sexist, homophobic, promotes child marriage, domestic abuse, child abuse, then maybe you need to find a different drum circle. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of things that are fun. There's a lot of things in life are fun. But you don't have to join a cult to have fun. Where do they get all the money to travel? Disciples and temple presidents give the money. Disciples they sell books. They do go out and they beg for money with books. ISKCON gurus are self-entitled, narcissistic bums. Yeah, and absolutely, you're absolutely right, and that's what this guy is. That's what this guy is, and he doesn't realize it. He doesn't realize what a narcissistic bum he is. He's a freeloading parasite, and that's all he is. And he's a dumbass. Harvard dumbass Goswami. That's all he is. Harvard dumbass Goswami. So no money for the people on the lower levels. No money for you got to go sell books, man. You want some money, you got to get out there and hustle you some books. You got to get a shopping cart and you put a couple cases of books in there and you go push that shopping cart around the DMV parking lot or Costco parking lot. And you hustle books, and you walk up to people and you go, hey man, you like John Lennon? Hey, I got this really great book about yoga. You like yoga, meditation? Hey, check it out. Look, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that even if you molest a child, it's okay. And then you get some money for the books. They're delusional, stupid, and angry people that depend on others for their funds, because that's how the Vedic system works. Apparently, the Vedic system is all about exploiting and free labor. What's fun about this cult? I really want to know. It's effing dreadful. Only ISKCON gurus and temple presidents get funds. The congregation members get nothing. Yeah, let me. I'm going to finish up with this. Let me finish up with this. Let me finish up with this, and then I'm gonna say goodbye. So, this is what you get. Okay, this is coming from the pod webpage. This is another health crisis. Okay, it says here, dear friends, devotees, and spiritual family. I'm sorry to bring forward a request during a time of year when many of us are already feeling stretched. But this situation is truly urgent, and I feel called to ask for support. A close friend of mine, Dira Devi Dasi, is a woman, of course, is facing a serious medical crisis. She has been living with a quiet chronic illness that has severely affected her stomach and digestive system, making it extremely difficult for her body to absorb nutrients. Because of this long-term malabsorption, her body has begun breaking down its own resources, which has led to significant bone loss in her jaw, damage to her teeth, weakness, pain, and widespread complications throughout her system. Her doctors have made it clear that she now urgently needs major restorative surgery on both her upper and lower jaw, along with ongoing digestive treatment and possible surgical intervention to stabilize her system. Both aspects of her health need attention for her to regain any real stability. The overall cost of the care she needs is very large, far more than most people could carry alone. But I am trying to raise enough to allow her to begin the process, secure the first stages of treatment, and take the essential steps towards stopping the decline and rebuild her health. This initial support is what opens the door for everything that comes next. I know this is a difficult time of year. I know there are many needs and pressures, but if you feel moved to help, even in a small way, it truly can change the direction of her healing. Your support can help Dira Devi Dasi help treat her digestive system, restore her ability to absorb nutrients, rebuild her jaw and bone, eat without pain, regain energy, strength. If you can donate, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you can share the link, it helps immensely. And if a prayer is all you can offer, please know that it is felt and extremely appreciated. Here is the link to her fundraiser and the full story. So I'm just going to read what Pod has to say, because, you know, every now and then he does get it right. Pod says, so sad, really terrible how so many peons and rank and file devotees are suffering from shortages of money for vehicles, food, housing, helpers, health care, etc., while the GBC gurus are living like Saudi princes. And some of the rank and file are suffering terribly, like this poor soul. The level of non-empathy for the fellow citizens by the leaders is disgusting, actually. Someone recently said on a forum, the gurus are living like Saudi princes. Okay, they read Pod, your servant, Paranjan Das. So as you can see, devotees don't get anything. They don't get health care. They don't have a savings account. They don't have health insurance or a 401k. They don't get any profit sharing. They don't get any dividends. They don't get anything. They don't get anything. You don't get a ticket to the Dom. You don't get anything. So you can give your life to this cult. You can give your whole life to this cult. You can sell books from day one until you're 99 years old. You don't get shit from this cult. And if anything happens to you, you can put up a GoFundMe account and hope that somebody donates money to help you get your jaw rebuilt or your get the antibiotic, whatever it is that you need. Because the cult doesn't care. They just don't care. Now, if you're a molester and your birthday's coming up, hey, maybe a guru will send you a nice birthday message wishing you a happy birthday and telling you how sorry he is he couldn't be there to wash your feet and do all that stuff. But if your body is breaking down and you need medical care and you got, you need major restorative surgery on both your upper and lower jaw, along with ongoing digestive treatment and possible surgical intervention to stabilize your system, well, you're going to be shit out of luck. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. Bedtime stories. Yep. You can push a shopping cart full of books. Want to be sans moral leadership. No moral leadership. No, can't. I don't want the moral leadership. I just want the glory. I just want to be glorified as a holy man. I want to be glorified as a holy man, but I don't want any responsibility. I just don't want any responsibility, especially when you get sick. When you get sick, don't come around and crying to me. I'm just your guru. I ain't your doctor. And if you need health insurance, don't come looking to me because, you donated to me. You could have been putting those donations into a 401k, but instead I talked you into selling it. I talked you into giving it to me because what do you need a 401k for when you got me? You got me. What do you need? You got me. It's funny. Many devotees want to go to Mayapur and Vrindavan to retire. I mean, that's actually insane. You're going from a high developed income nation to a low income country. Yeah, well, if you've got nothing, they're going to go to India, retire in Holy Dham, and then hopefully, live in a hut somewhere down by the river, and then they leave their body in Vrindavan, and then they're just going to go back to God. That's what they think. They're fucking insane. They're fucking insane. That's what they think. Hey, listen. Well, that's it for today, man. We've gone almost 2.5 hours today. So there's a really good one, really good show today. I want to thank everybody, every single person, for coming through today. 5471 and Fake Human, of course. It wouldn't be the same without Fake Human. Howard Johnson and Monkey Boy, Rafael, my producer, and Liam and Jenna Morton and who else came through here today? I know some more. And Trey Martin, of course. Trey Martin came through. And Hayden Erickson and Alexandra 7720. Everybody, thank you all for coming through. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I'm getting up there. I gotta hit some milestones so the algorithm will pick up. It's picking up a little bit. I'm really excited. I'm seeing more and more views and a few more subscribers. So please help with that. If you haven't already, please help with that. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Everybody, once again, thank you so much. Have a great day, great night, great morning, great afternoon, great evening. Wherever you are, please stay out of the cult. Please share these videos. And, of course, for all the new people and for you old-timers, too. Anybody, I know we all love to watch this video. Of course, it's me, as a Hare Krishna, a long time ago. So, everybody, thanks again, and enjoy me.